Assalamu alaikum dear viewers of IBN TV. Welcome to a brand new show of Dessert Delights with me Sanjida Rashid. Well, today we have a new guest with us. She's going to show us a few new recipes. So if she could please introduce herself.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sayyada.
Okay, and would you like to tell us what you're making for us today?
These are like caramel chocolate squares. It's basically like a dessert in like a bar.
Oh wow, that sounds very interesting. Something different to what we've been making for the past two shows. So where are we going to start?
Okay, so the ingredients are, you will need 1 cup of butter, 1 tin sweet milk, 1 cup of chocolate, between half to 1 cup sugar. Now sugar, it really depends on what you like. If you like it really sweet, then 1 cup would do, but for today's purposes we'll use something in between, which is like 3/4 cup of sugar. Some baking soda. Here I've used 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda and a pinch of salt, half cup nuts, 1.5 cups of flour, and 1.5 cups of oats.
Right. Okay, so where are we going to start with?
So first thing we're going to do, we're going to take our sweet milk and we're going to cook this with a little bit of butter and make like a caramel syrup, caramel sauce or something.
Okay, I noticed that instead of using sugar, you're using your condensed or sweet milk.
Yeah.
And normally, I guess, like whenever we make a syrup, sugar syrup, we normally do it with sugar. So why are you using this instead of sugar?
It's just because in the bars you kind of get a gooey texture, so you want that chewy kind of texture. You know, with sugar you get the crunchy texture. I've never tried it with sugar, but this always works.
Okay.
It has. Right. So first I'll do is I'll take a little bit of my butter and I will put it in the pan on very low heat. Right. I'll wait for the butter to melt. Give it a little stir.
Okay, so I noticed that you're not using the whole of the butter.
Yeah.
You're just putting a little bit. So will you be adding the rest, or?
Yeah, this butter I'm later on going to melt it and mix it with the rest of the mixture.
Oh, okay.
This is just a little bit just to make that caramel syrup. Okay, now I'm gonna it's almost melted, so I'm gonna pour all this inside the pan. And I'm going to cook it on very low heat for about, it'll take about 20 to 30 minutes. Depends though, what you'll see is that the color has changed to like a darker shade of brown.
Okay.
Once that's done, you know that your caramel sauce is ready.
Okay, so can you leave it like on the stove for cooking,
Yes.
or do you need to keep mixing?
Make sure you keep mixing it just so that it doesn't get burnt at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do is take the remaining of my butter and I'm going to take it to the pan and melt it. Yeah? So on very low heat, I'm going to add the butter. Going to wait for a few minutes for the butter to melt completely.
Okay, so what are we using that melted butter for again?
We're going to mix it with all the dry ingredients, so you can say it's like a binding agent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to make them like, just so that they all hold together.
We'll be going on a short break now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Thank you. What are we going to do now?
Right, so the butter has melted. I'm just going to bring it on this side. Right. And we are going to mix our dry ingredients. Apart from the chocolate and the nuts, we're going to put them in this bowl, and then we're going to put the butter in, and then we're going to have like this doughy kind of texture.
Okay.
Yeah? Alright, so I will start with the sugar.
I noticed you're using white sugar. Can like someone use like brown?
Yeah, you can. What people sometimes do is do like half, so like half brown, half white. Whatever
Because I heard
works.
brown sugar has like, you know, it's more concentrated, like it's more sweeter compared
It's more
to white,
sweeter,
right?
yeah. So you probably have to use a lot less. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to
And
add.
do you need to like granulate it, or this is fine?
This is fine. It's fine. You could try granulating it though, but I've never granulated it. Then I'm going to add my flour.
And I noticed you're using a spatula. Why would you like? Why not a normal spoon?
It's just easier to mix it with a spatula.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this rubber spatula is once at the end, what you can do is really scrape out all your dough, so you've not got anything left in the side.
Okay, so there's no wasting, like.
Yeah, exactly, no wasting. Yeah. I remember, like when we were small, my mom used to like use her fingers, and that's really nice. But like this just makes it more quicker and more efficient.
Efficient, yeah.
Right. Next, I'm going to add my oats. Right, and I'm going to add my baking soda. Okay. Right, then I'm going to give it a mix. I really, at this point, just mix all your dry ingredients first before adding the butter, because you don't want like a lot of baking soda on one side, and you don't want like a lot of oats on one side to bind with the butter. So it's a good idea to give it like a good mix for maybe a minute or so.
So during this time, our caramel is still cooking, right?
Yeah,
like it's still.
So you kind of have to like keep going to stir it and keep coming back, but it's on low heat, so that's fine. Right, I think that looks mixed enough. Yeah. Right. So now I'm going to add my butter, the melted butter. Make sure you melt the butter, because it's because of melting the butter that gives your bars that chewy texture.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, it adds to the chewiness. So I'm going to pour that in.
Okay, we're using butter, but like other people prefer using things like margarine, or so is that okay?
Yeah, margarine's fine. I have tried it with margarine, but it's a little unhealthy.
Okay.
So butter is more healthier. So you're better off using butter. Yeah.
Okay.
It works fine with margarine.
And because we're gonna be baking this, right? So do we need to like preheat our oven, or?
Honestly, with this, I've never had to preheat my oven. It works just fine.
Welcome back, and now we can see that our mixture is mixed. So how should it be? Like, what's the texture?
Well, the texture is that when you press it, it kind of holds. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Right. So finally, we're gonna add some vanilla essence and give it a stir.
So why do you add your vanilla?
It's just to give it that fragrance, just to have your bar smell nice.
And how much do you approximately use?
I use about a teaspoon to a tablespoon.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever works for you. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a baking pan, and we're going to divide this mixture in half. Okay. This is basically a 3-layered bar. So we're going to use the first half for the bottom as a base. I'm just going to divide it in half, and we're going to take a baking pan, and the baking pan should have like a 7 by 7 inch baking pan would do, or like an 8 by
Like
6.
a round would be okay, or necessarily like
See,
a
I would
rectangle
prefer
or square?
a square or rectangle because
Okay.
at the end you're going to cut some pieces from it.
Okay.
So, you know, in a round you kind of
It's
lose
harder,
those
yeah.
edges.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're going to take a baking pan.
So that's what she's going to be using. It's a square, so it's better to be using this.
And what we're going to do to this is we're going to add a baking sheet, or you can grease-proof your pan. You can use a grease-proof paper, a baking sheet, anything works. Yeah. So I'm going to take half my mixture, and I'm going to pour it in this baking pan.
So what are we going to do with the other half, like you said?
Yeah, this other half we're going to put it in the end at the top. So in between we're going to have our caramel syrup, we're going to have our nuts, we're going to have our chocolate, and then we're going to top it off with this.
So like a little surprise in the middle,
yeah.
Right? Okay, that's very nice.
Make sure to give it a good press. And make sure you've got enough left for your top as well. You don't want to have like very little, because then you'll end up having no topping.
Okay, yeah. That's true.
So
you need to divide it equally.
Yeah.
You need an even layer, right?
Yeah, it's very important to have an even layer.
So on what degrees are you going to bake this on?
I will be baking this at 160 degrees.
And for how long approximately?
I'm first going to bake this for about 7 minutes. And then when we remove it out of the oven, we're going to put the caramel sauce, the chocolate, the nuts. Then we'll put this on top. And we will bake this again for about 15 minutes, and then it'll be ready.
So not very hard dessert, like very simple.
It's very
dessert.
simple.
So anyone can do it.
Make sure you press it, because if you don't press it, you're going to have like this crumbly texture, and it won't hold properly.
Exactly.
So this is like a really
it'll
important.
fall out like when you cut them. When you cut the pieces.
You can use a glass to press it, anything.
So I noticed you using this paper. Like it's much easier this way instead of greasing, or like why are you using this instead of like greasing?
I just find it so much easier, because if you like to bake, you will find that the most that the most discouraging part about baking is greasing.
Yeah.
You can say for that, yeah. So with a baking sheet, it gives baking like a different meaning to life. You know?
It's quicker and like you don't
more efficient, less mess. No sticky fingers. Right.
Exactly.
So that looks just about right. I think I've pressed it right. That's what it looks like. And then we're going to pop it in the oven for about 7 minutes at 160 degrees.
So we'll be going on a short break by the time our lower layer bakes, and we'll be back soon, so don't go anywhere.
صديقي من أصارحه فيبقى ودود القلب عفا في اللسان صديقي من يرى الإيمان بحرا عزيز النفس مشبوب الجنان فلا الأهوال صديقي من تراوغه الخطايا فيركب صهوة الخير القراحي يفيض على الورى روحا وروحا فيعلي راية الحق الصراحي جميل فعله حلو السجايا فيبسم ثغره مثل الأقاحي إذا وهب الحليم صديق خير أتاه السعد ميمون الجناحي ومن يرزق سواه فقد دهته مصائب في المساء وفي الصباح صديقي من يقاسمني همومي ويرمي بالعداوة من غمامي وينصرني إذا ما غبت عنه وأرجو وده طول الزمان ويحفظ حظه ويفيض وده يحب الخير مفتاح الأمان يحب الخير مفتاح الأمان صديقي من
Welcome back. So the bars are baked, right?
Yeah, almost done.
So what do we do next now?
Right, now next what we're going to do, our caramel sauce is also ready. That took us about 20 minutes to do. Of course, if it does get burnt, which at times has happened to me, what you can do is strain it. So you've got that gooiness at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like you said, we need to bake this for like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Does it vary or?
Yeah, of course it varies. Like this oven over here took about 9 minutes. At home it takes me about 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
So it's for you to decide when you feel.
So how do you
done.
know that it's done?
I just think, look at the color. It should have changed a little. It should have been a little darker.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our chopped chocolate pieces. You can also use chocolate chips at this stage, but because in Dar es Salaam chocolate chips aren't really widely available, you're fine using chopped chocolate.
So what kind of chocolate do you use here? Is it milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
This is just cooking chocolate. Okay. So I'm going to put that on. I don't want too much of that. I'm going to layer it.
This is going to be like a little surprise in the middle, like, you know, for kids especially. I'm sure they're going to love this.
Just spread it around. Right, I think that looks good enough.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add some chopped nuts.
Okay, what kind of nuts are you using here?
These are just peanuts, without the peel.
Okay.
And I chop them up. Yeah. So just a few.
Can
of
you
those.
use any other nuts like hazelnuts
you
or
can.
cashew nuts?
Yeah, I think we just make it like a different flavored bar. You can also not use the nuts if you wish. I mean, if people have a nut allergy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that looks fine. Right. And then I'm going to take the caramel sauce and I'm going to pour it on top of my my chocolate and peanut mixture. Right now, at this stage, your caramel syrup is very thick, so I'm going to take it in lumps. Okay.
So is it necessary to use all the caramel you have, or sometimes, you know, you could...
Yeah, you know, if you don't use all of it, it's fine.
Could you store it? Or?
Yeah, you store it, keep it in the fridge, and then when you want, you can use it as a topping for, ice creams. That works. it's a really good ice cream topper.
Okay, so we're gonna be spreading it now, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna be a very sticky step, so
So bear with me.
yeah. Something like toffee, right?
Yeah, it's a very chewy toffee texture.
So after this, we're gonna place the rest of the dry ingredients that we mixed with the butter and bake it again, right?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to bake it for 15 minutes or so. Yeah. Right. So that looks just about done. It's really sticky, but don't worry about that, because when we're going to put our topping at the top, it's going to cover up and it's going to be just fine.
Okay.
Right. So now I'm going to take the remaining half of my mixture and pour it on top. Now it's very sticky, so it's a good idea to take spoonfuls of this mixture and just slightly pour around everywhere evenly.
Because if you go to pour everything, it might
It's going to stick, and you're going to have
right.
like a big bowl of sticky
on one
mixture.
side, yeah.
Yeah, and that's something very tricky to sort out.
So I noticed you use oats for this. Can you use like cereals and like, you know, maybe
Yeah.
make them into cereal bars or?
Yeah, you can. You can use Rice Krispies. I've tried Rice Krispies. It gives them this really crunchy texture. Yeah, feel free to use anything. I mean, it's all about experimenting to find what works for you and your
yeah.
family. Right, once you've got that at the top, you're going to give it a good press. And this is very important. Make sure you give it a good press, because without the good press, you're not going to have those bars. It's going to be all crumbly when it comes out. Let's use this one.
Okay. So you'll need to like level it down evenly, right? On
Yeah.
all the sides.
Make sure it's leveled evenly, because when you cut your squares, if it's not even, it won't really look nice and even. And the sides are very important. I usually end up forgetting to press the sides, and then I've got like crumbs around the side and really firm bars in the middle.
So we're going to heat our oven at the same degrees that you used before, right?
Yes, 160 degrees, and this is what it looks like.
Okay, so we're going to be placing this in the oven now, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So by the time we bake this, we'll be back after a short break, and after which we'll be showing you how these look, inshallah. So don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back. So our bites, they're done, right?
Yeah, they're done, and this is what they look like. Kind of browny, but not too brown, right? So we're gonna put that in the side. You don't want to cut them straight away because they're still soft, and you want them to kind of cool down a little bit before you can cut them.
Okay, so you need to leave that aside for now.
Don't cut them straight away. It's a big mistake.
Okay, so while we're waiting for our bites to like cool down, we're gonna show you another dessert, which is
chocolate chip cookies. It's actually double chocolate chip cookies.
Double chocolate chip cookies.
And chewy.
So all those chocolate lovers, I'm sure you're gonna love this. So what are we gonna start with?
Right, we're first going to start with half a cup of margarine, 3/4 cups sugar, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon vanilla essence, 1 cup flour, about 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, and 3/4 cup of chopped chocolates.
Okay, so I noticed that this is 1/3 cup. A lot of people don't have those cup measurements. So do you know how much?
Just estimate. I mean, that looks like about 2 tablespoons. Yeah, that should be enough.
Heaped, right?
Yeah, heaped. Okay. Right. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sugar and I'm going to put it in my bowl. Right. Next, I'm going to add my melted butter. Now, you can get away without melting your butter, but it's a very important stage. It's the melted butter that makes your cookies very chewy. So don't stop this.
With chewy, I remember, you know, Subway cookies.
Yeah.
So is this very similar to that, or?
Almost. You can say that.
So you're getting a recipe of something like Subway cookies.
Right, now I'm going to whisk it for about 2 to 3 minutes.
So you're going to blend it, right?
Yeah. How long are you thinking? 2 to 3 minutes.
So you mix this for around like 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, and by 2 to 3 minutes, I mean not just 2 seconds, 3 seconds, I mean like a good 120, 180 seconds.
Yeah. Also make sure you beat it for that time.
Right, my next step, I'm going to be adding 1 egg and about a tablespoon of vanilla essence. Right. And I'm going to whisk it for about a minute or so. Right, as you're doing this, make sure you scrape the sides because you've got things around that usually blow off, you know, with the whisk. So make sure every now and then you keep stopping and doing that.
And using such spoons are very essential for this step. Like
really helpful. So I think that was a good beating for a minute. And now we're going to add our dry ingredients, which are the cocoa, flour, and baking soda. So I'll first put some cocoa. Right. Add the baking soda. I'm just going to add these two first because if I add all my dry ingredients, it's just going to come up in my face. And I wouldn't want that to happen now. Okay. Give it a good beating for like 10 seconds.
And you need to make sure scraping off your sides like she's doing, because most of your ingredients like remain there.
Right, as I'm beating this, I'm going to add my flour. Yes, please. That'll be lovely.
Do you want to add the whole thing at once?
No, add them in bits. You can keep on adding as I mix. Add the whole thing. Right, can I take a break to mix all the flour in the batter?
So do you normally do this yourself at home?
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It would probably take you 30 to 40 minutes with baking.
That's nice. That's like a very short time. So if you know you're getting guests over, like suddenly, like an hour
It's the perfect
before.
thing to make.
Exactly.
Well, that's if you know you're going to have power at home. Right, I'm just going to give it a little stir so the rest of the flour on the side mixes in well, since I can't get this whisk to mix it. Right, now it's shiny, it's the perfect texture. Don't beat the flour too much.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our chopped chocolate. If you don't, well, ideally the recipes call for chocolate chips, but you know, in Tanzania, how we've got like a problem of getting chocolate chips.
Yeah.
So get chopped chocolates. Cadbury is okay, that local Cadbury. Not the imported one, because that melts a lot.
Oh, okay.
That melts really
you
quickly.
want these pieces to remain, right?
Yeah.
Like as okay.
Yeah.
And could you use like white chocolate or?
Yeah, substitute with white chocolate. You could add chopped pistachio to it.
Oh, yeah.
You can also substitute the cocoa part for flour. So you've got like plain chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to put that in. Right, and I'm going to just stir in with my spatula. Alright, just make sure all the chocolates are evenly around the batter. Okay, that looks fine.
So what are we going to do now?
Right, now our batter is ready. So we're going to scoop it and pour it on our baking tray. So first thing you want to do is make sure your oven is preheated to 180 degrees.
Okay.
Next, you're going to line your baking tray with a baking sheet, a greaseproof paper, or you can just grease it with butter. Right? Now I'm going to take, you can use a scoop here, but but the thing is, it has to be like a really small scoop because these are really going to rise. So I'm going to take a little bit, about that much looks good enough. Yeah. Pour it there. Take another, and make sure that you leave a lot of, make sure that you leave a gap in between, because these are really going to rise.
Because as you can see, that there's very small scoops, but after baking, I guess they're going to increase like double.
Yeah,
double
almost
the size,
double.
right?
Yeah. Now here's the thing, with cookies, especially chocolate chip cookies, you don't want to flatten them. I actually tried flattening them once,
Okay.
and it was a big mistake because just that look wasn't like, yeah.
So just scoop them out and place
Just scoop them and place them
with
yeah.
spaces in between.
And what you can do, if you've got like extra dough extra cookie dough at home, you can put it in your fridge for about 24 to 36 hours and remove it and just put them in the baking tray again and in the oven. Or you can freeze your cookie dough for about a week and use it whenever you want. So it's ideal if you've got kids at home, if you've got guests coming at home. So it's something you can do in advance. You just need to take it out and... Yeah.
So how many cookies do you approximately think this batter would make?
After one night, you get about 15 cookies. But depending on the size, if you make them really big, 10. Yeah. These are about, I've put about 1 inch in diameter to get this size, yeah. I'm just going to make them into like circles, so I get them perfectly shaped and look around for which one doesn't look even, yeah.
So I noticed you're using 2 spoons. Is that easier?
I actually find that easier, yeah. But whatever works for you, yeah. Okay, I think that's done. And now these cookies are ready to go in the oven. Bake them for 8 minutes to 10 minutes. Don't over bake them, because with these cookies, if you bake them for more than 10 minutes, they're not going to be chewy. They're going to be crunchy, crispy. Yeah. But of course, if you want them to be crunchy, keep them for another 4 or 5 minutes extra. Yeah.
So we're going to place this in the oven for around 8-10 minutes, and we'll be back. And inshallah, we'll present to you both our desserts today. So don't go anywhere.
ألف الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوات شعشع وأنوار. ألف الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار. ألف الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار.
ميلاد زين العابدين ألف الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار. ألف الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار. والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين. والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين. ميلاد زين العابدين.
جينا هاليوم نبعث تهاني يا عسى دوم هاي الأماني. هاي الأماني نوره موسوم ضيا خذاني وجهه مرسوم بحسن دهاني. حسن دهاني وزهر على خده
علي علي
واسمع على جده
علي علي
شبل الصمده
علي 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 علي.
درب طلعت شبل مستبشر وفاطمة والمصطفى الأطهار. حيدر بطلعت شبل مستبشر وفاطمة والمصطفى الأطهار. بشرى لكل المؤمنين بميلاد زين العابدين. بشرى لكل المؤمنين بميلاد زين العابدين.
الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار. ألف الصلاة على النبي وحيدر
الصلاة على النبي وحيدر.
والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين. والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين. ميلاد زين العابدين.
محلها النور يسوي العلي يضوي في الدور بين الليالي. بين الليالي بالله منصور وحب غالي طهر مبرور فخر معالي فخر معالي نوري تلالا علي علي يضوى بجماله علي علي يشبل الرسالة علي 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 روض الجنان تفتح وأزهار وفاطمة وتبشر وتفخار روض الجنان تفتح وأزهار وفاطمة وتبشر وتفخار وتحمد رب العالمين ميلاد زين العابدين وتحمد رب العالمين ميلاد زين العابدين
الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين ميلاد زين العابدين
يا القلب ذوب بطهر معاني هذا محبوب ساكن كياني ساكن كياني ضوى الدروب نوره سباني روى القلوب بعشق وتفاني عشق وتفاني نور العبادة
علي علي
حب سعادة
علي علي
أصل امتداده
علي 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 علي
ما يوالي دربه يتحسر يوم الشفاعة بوقفة المحشر والما يوالي دربه يتحسر يوم الشفاعة بوقفة المحشر واحنا بحبه مأملين ميلاد زين العابدين واحنا بحبه مأملين ميلاد زين العابدين
شعشع وأنوار الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين ميلاد زين العابدين
ساكن جفون عشاق الأطهار قلبي مفتون بالحب والأنوار بالحب والأنوار من وجد كون ولا الفلك دار والله من دون عترة المختار عترة المختار دورة هالأفلام
علي علي
وتسبيح الأملاك
علي علي
يخاب اللعادة
علي 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 علي
ابن الوصي واللي بذل منحار حبك في قلبي يكبر ويكبر يا ابن الوصي واللي بذل منحار حبك بقلبي يكبر ويكبر ذكراك جينا معيدين بميلاد زين العابدين ذكراك جينا معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين
الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار الصلاة على النبي وحيدر بيت النبوة شعشع وأنوار والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين والناس كلها معيدين ميلاد زين العابدين ميلاد زين العابدين
Welcome back. As you can see, our cookies and our bites are ready. So how long did you approximately think that would take?
These took 8 minutes. Do not bake them for more than 10 minutes.
Not more, right?
Oh, like you'll see when they come out of the oven, they're going to be still soft, but they cook as they cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see the size, right?
Yeah.
They're really like
They've expanded quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. And our bites as well, they're
Yep.
ready.
They're
So what did
ready.
you do to them, like after we left them to cool then?
So all we did was we just put them on this tray, and we just sprinkled some chocolate around it to make it look pretty.
So you cut them into squares, right?
Yeah.
Can anyone cut them into any other shape they like?
Oh
or?
yeah, that's actually a really clever idea. Maybe you could use cookie cutters into heart shapes,
Oh, right,
diamonds,
right. You could
things
do
like
that.
that.
They'd look
Yeah.
really good.
Okay.
So I'm sure we all are going to enjoy all these really, really yummy chocolatey dishes that we've had today. And they're tempting, yeah? So try them at home, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you for watching.
صديقي من يخاصمني همومي ويرمي بالعداوة من غمامي وينصرني إذا ما غبت عنه وأرجو وده طول الزمان ويحفظ حبه ويفيض وده يحب الخير مفتاح الأمان يحب الخير مفتاح الأمان
صديقي من أصارحه فيبقى ودود القلب عفا في اللسان صديقي من يرى الإيمان بحرا عزيز النفس مشبوب الجنان فلا الأهواء تجرؤ تشتريه ولا الإعجاب يسبي ذا الجنان ولا النزوات تنسج بردتيه ولا الأحقاد تسكن في الكيان حيا مخلصا عفوا جريئا سليل الهدي يعبق بالحنان
صديقي من يخاصمني همومي ويرمي بالعداوة من غمامي وينصرني إذا ما غبت عنه وأرجو وده طول الزمان ويحفظ حبه ويفيض وده يحب الخير مفتاح الأمان يحب الخير مفتاح الأمان
صديقي من تراوغه الخطايا فيركب صهوة الخير القراحي يفيض على الورى